Alright guys, since we're getting close to the end of the year over here on NA, I thought I'd do kind of an end of the year recap for you guys, kind of just going over some of these stronger, newer servants that we're going to be getting over here on NA, because unlike JP, we at least know our schedule aside from NA exclusive banners, but that's also why I'm doing this, because NA will just throw random banners our way. I mean, this Samurai Remnant banner was not planned, obviously, in 2 years ago when this was going on JP, because the game didn't come out, right? It came out over here, so we got a surprise banner. Now, we also know on NA that we usually get a Thanksgiving banner that brings like 4 to 5 limited servants back, although I'm not sure if they're still going to do that this year, because I've heard, at least over on the JP side of things, that they don't want to do exclusive, like, Halloween banners or Christmas banners. They want to kind of slow down doing stuff like that, so I don't know if that means they also want to slow down things over on NA, but still, going over this will give you a good idea of what servants to look out for the rest of the year. And if they do throw a surprise banner, if you don't care about any of these servants, then you should be fine to summon on said surprise banner. But before we begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that sweet daily FGO content. Also, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on my Twitch, so peep that link down in the description down below. But first, the next main servant that's going to be coming out is going to be Jacques and Zenobia over here. Now, I'm very impressed with Zenobia. Over on my JP account, I have her at NP1, and she's been putting out a pretty good performance, but I did have very low expectations for her, right? Because, you know, no battery, you know, kind of a lower attack stat. You know, I wasn't expecting her to be this absolute god that thrashed everything, but I've been fairly impressed. She can do, you know, so you could have some problems when it comes to damage, right? That could be a little bit of an issue for her sometimes, but farming with her and having her second skill, if you know you have a face card coming in, you can find some success using this unit as a looping servant. But is she like the best unit in the game? No, far from that, right? But you can get some nice usage out of her. Now, Jacques over here, I think, is very unfortunate, because about 2 years ago when I was doing my looping tier lists, I think she snuck in there at like 4 or 3. Like, she was fairly high up there on the quick looping tier list. The problem is just that she is a quick looping servant, right? Like, there's not really a huge demand for them right now, especially when you have the same clairvoyance that we have as NA players, knowing that quick is not really going to be resurrected anytime soon. I mean, we could see 2 years into the future and haven't seen a new quick, you know, insane god servant. Now, for all we know, you know, say Tamamo Arya from Samurai Remnant comes out on FGO and she turns out to be a godly support or something and, you know, changes all of that. But as of right now, as NA players, we can see that while she may be a really good quick looping servant, unless you just really like Jacques' like aesthetic, or you like the whole gimmick for the event or whatever, right? Like, you really like her story in the event, aside from all of that and summoning for her as like a servant, you know, gameplay wise, you're not really going to get much out of her unless you want to go out of your way to quick farm. Now, after that, we should be moving into Guda Guda and then the new actual Guda Guda event. I didn't pull up Himiko or any of these guys over here because Himiko is obviously still going to be very, very good, but she's one of those like big brain servants that, you know, I don't think gets as much praise as she probably should be getting, because she is really good, but because she's not just like, say, Castoria, press all 3 skills and then just, you know, loop away, or, you know, she's not just like one of those like offensive servers that you can just click all 3 of their skills and then just not have to worry about them. You know, with Himiko, you kind of want to like think a little bit about how you're like using her NP in conjunction with her skills to get the most amount of damage. Because of that, I think she doesn't get as much uses that she probably should get, but she's obviously really, really strong. If you want to put in, you know, the time to kind of learn how to play with her effectively, you'll get a lot of value out of her. I mean, you can start doing like immortal team comps with like your Merlins, your Morgans, your Castories. You have a ton of different options if you want to take the time to learn how to do that. Now, following that, we actually have the main Guda Guda event, which brings Izumo and Ryoma into the game. Now, let me just talk about Ryoma real quick, because this was a unit I was really hyped about when she dropped, or I guess she, he, they, them, whatever, because there's 2 of them on the unit, right? When they dropped over here on JP, you know, I was really excited about them, especially because I didn't really expect it to happen. They kind of dropped out of nowhere, in my opinion, and I think that feeling actually kind of shows in how they play. They're not the best farmer ever, but they can farm. They're not the best high difficulty content unit, but they're not the worst, right? They're just this very like average, or dare I say mid unit. Now, saying that they're like mid doesn't mean that they're like terrible. It just means they're like middle of the pack, right? They're not super great, but they're not super bad. They're just mid, I guess, right? They're just very okay. Like, they don't really do anything super crazy, and they're not like busted good, but they're not offensively bad either, right? So if you're trying to beef up your box, I don't recommend going for them. But if you do like Ryoma and Oryu over here and you like their story, then I know you're probably going to summon for them anyway. And in that case, they're not the worst servant ever, right? You can get some usage out of them. Just don't have too many high hopes for them, right? As someone who has them over on JP, they have not exactly put on the greatest performance, but I do still use them from time to time if I want to swap up my arts farmer. Izumo over here, interesting, because Izumo is one of the reasons that I'm kind of starting to switch my tune a little bit on the quick meta. I'm starting to kind of go away from, maybe we should just start making all the quick units single target, because single target quick units always seem to perform really, really well. Like, think of like Tyra, MHX, and now we have Izumo who's coming out. It's like, maybe they should just all be single target units, because single target quick units play really well with Scotty's whole ability to 3-turn difficult content, and Izumo is no different. Now, she has like a little bit of a gimmick, I guess you could say, but I think she's really strong, right? I think she joins a lot of these single target quick servants in being like one of their better options. Now, obviously, if you've already got Tyra and MHX Alta, you're probably just going to keep using them because they're both absolute machines when it comes to destroying difficult content. But if you don't have them and you want a different option, Izumo definitely can fill one of those roles for you. I think, if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I think I'd have her in the top 5 quick, like, DPS units. I probably would have her up there, but I'd have to think about it a little bit, because there are a lot of really good single target quick DPS units. I mean, even Okita, with how basic her kit is, even she is really insanely good. I don't think she'd be top 5. I think Izumo might beat her out for that, but I'm just saying there's so many good single target quick units that, I don't know, she might be up there. I don't know. Let me think about it. Maybe he'll do a video on the best single target quick DPSs, right? I'll think about that one. But then we get into the rerun part of the year, right? We kind of start moving past that, and we get to Scotty coming back around. Now, this is an interesting predicament, because Scotty is still really good. Even though we rag on the quick meta compared to the Buster and the arts meta, the quick meta is still really strong. Like, it's not a bad thing to be doing. It's just you're doing the inferior version of farming, right? But that doesn't make it bad. And so going for Scotty allows you to use a lot of your quick units at their full potential, and you will want Caster Scotty when Ruler Scotty comes out, right? Because she's kind of like their plug suit. Instead of plug suiting in Oberon, you plug suit in Scotty for the extra battery, the defense down, and the massive quick buff, right? So she is really nice in that triple Scotty meta, if you want to call it that. And so she has a lot of value in going for, right? And me personally, I think I'm going to be saving my Saint Quartz for the rest of the year going for Scotty, because I don't have her, and I would at least like to be able to use quick units when they do come out. But it doesn't feel like it's the best thing I should be doing, right? I don't know if anybody else has that same feeling where it's like you feel like you should have Scotty. She's really good, but how often are you really going to use them? Because she's one of the top tier supports, but she's one of the top tier supports for something that's not all that great, right? Realistically, if you want to go for a better support, end of the year, I'm going to kind of skip ahead here. Koyan Light comes back around, and she is as insanely good as ever. Like, she did not age at all in the next 2 years for JP. She only gets better, in fact, as we get better and better Buster servants coming out. Realistically, if you can only go for one, go for Koyan Light, because even if you don't have like the tippy top, like max limit broken kaleidoscope and all the like most broken 50% battery, you know, Buster servants over there, there are still free to play units you can use to farm. I mean, look at Caster, right? He's someone that everybody gets, and I don't want to say he comes back fairly often, but you know, they throw him on like GSSR banners and some banners every now and then. They'll toss him on there that you should be able to get copies of him on, right? There are just like low-end options that you can use with Koyan Light, and you'll still see a lot of success, especially, God forbid, you already have Oberon in your box as well, right? It's absolutely insane, right? Or if you want to do the Wombo combo, you can go for Melusine and then go for Koyan Light over summoning for Scotty, because Melusine allows you to do, you know, Black Grail farming, right? Like, she's absolutely insane with her 100% battery. So if you want to go for something over Scotty, because maybe Scotty doesn't feel as good to go for, you can go for Melusine and Koyan Light, which is probably what I would do if I didn't already have both of these units, right? Like, I already have Melusine and I already have Koyan Light, but otherwise, I think that is a very smart thing to do if none of these other servants over here are really interesting you, and you want to go with a strong, I guess, meta pick that'll like last you a long time. Melusine and Koyan Light will do really well. Now, aside from these two being the rerun servants that come back, we have I was going to say 2 really strong units at the end of the year, but I had to catch myself because Tai Gong is really strong. Nikki is not very strong. I mean, I'm really sad that they did her really dirty. Unfortunately, what it comes down to is that her damage mods are very limited, and she only has a 20% battery. I don't know why you would do this in the year 2023, or I guess in 2021 when she actually released. I don't know why you would release Koyan, who really wants to at least see a 30% battery serving. You know, you can give yourself NP on your own NP, which they did not do, or you can have a 50% battery. Any kind of hodgepodge mix of the sort. Just get her up to that 30%. And for some reason, they were like, no. Nikki will not be buster farming. We are going to hard stop her from doing any of that. So I don't know what the purpose was, but they pretty much just hard stuck her as like a random 4-star that you might pull, might get some value out of, but realistically aren't going to be using all that often. Tai Gong, on the other hand, absolutely insane. They drop Scotty and then they drop another really good AoE quick unit, right? He is insanely good. I mean, Bro has like the triple buff to the entire party, so if you want to use him as a plug suit, he's insane with that. Dude's got double damage mods. He's just looking really nice. I think the only knock on this character is that maybe they could have made the quick resistance proc first before he does damage, because this guy is really insane. He is super nice. I used him on JP at like 111 for the longest time because I did not have QP on JP, and he still put out really good results. This guy is really nice. If you're gonna go for any of like the busted quick servants that come out this year, this is arguably the one that you go for, right? Because we still have, you know, Jacques, Izumo, and then we have Tai Gong who comes out, and Tai Gong is probably the one that I would go for out of the 3 of these, because I think this guy is stupid dummy nutty broken. Plus, his lore goes absolutely crazy, right? If you're a lore head like me, then go for Tai Gong. If you're a gameplay guy, go for Tai Gong. This guy is really nice, and he will serve you right. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What servants will you be going for the rest of 2023? Let me know that, and let me know if you think we're going to be getting a Thanksgiving banner, and if so, who do you think is going to be on that banner? But with all that being said, you guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late guys.